All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, Sandra, it is. It's just now 10 o'clock, so it is morning for me. But that's absolutely fine because I think I've been up since 5:30. So that's just usually what ends up happening with me is I just end up getting up way too early and then I go to bed a little too late. So Chelsea's Adventures, hello. How are you? Okay, so let's just make sure I've got everything queued up. All right, I think I've got everything. I'm just going to wait a minute. And it looks like we got a few people in here. Yay. That's always happy. How is everybody doing this morning or this afternoon? Everybody doing okay? Let's see. And is everybody going to be watching the 24-hour live stream next week? I think next Saturday for Homestead How. So I'm gonna try to jump in and watch some of that when I can. So that'll be interesting. Okay. All right. Let's. We'll just go ahead and get started. I'm hoping that John. Let's see, John Wood. I'm hoping that he'll be able to make it today. I invited him. Um, I invited him to come on and to just kind of give his story. And if anybody else, the same invite goes to anybody and everybody. I got my big jump, when I appeared on Carrie's video, a little while ago. So I figure, people's stories have to be told, right? So if most people are not fortunate to jump on there, I'm hoping that we can at least start getting people's stories told, in other ways. So I have a post in the community area about emailing me if you want to go ahead and let me know if you're interested, and I have the email address that's there. So please feel free to contact me, and we'll work on getting you all set up. All right, yeah, 4 a.m. Yeah, that's what I end up doing sometimes. It's it's not fair. I wake up and then I can't go back to sleep. All right. Okay. So today we are at, for me, this is week 17, but yesterday was actually my day 120. So I figured what I would go ahead and do really quickly is just kind of recap where everything was. So originally, when I started out, my weight was at 453. So it's 205.47 kilograms. And I'm going to go through a lot of the other issues, different things that I was having in just a minute, but I'm just going to just kind of start from the beginning, at least with the weight. Um, so currently this morning, I weighed in. Yay, I lost a little bit. So I am at 381. So it was 172.81 kilograms. So that is a total of 72 pounds for me. So it's great that I was able to lose a little bit, especially since last, 2 weeks ago I was at, um, 383, and then last week it went back up. Or actually, last week it had gone up, and then I came back down back to 383. So there was no loss from last week, and then this week I was able to lose a little bit, so I felt a little better. So my blood sugar this morning was at 107, and Norway, yay! Uh, hello, hello, hello. So my blood sugar today was at 107, and the weekly average, because unfortunately I haven't been taking it every day, because there was a few days where I just woke up and just forgot to take it, and there was also, I think, a day where it was up at like in the low, like 130s. So What are you going to do with that? So the average was 112. Um, Thank you very much. Yeah, you know, believe me, I love it. I love it. And when I go over some of this other information here in just a minute, it's for me, it is not just about the weight loss. The weight loss is great. The weight loss is the thing that you can see as soon as you look at me, but it's all the other things that obviously are inside that don't get enough attention from me. I am still walking 2.5 miles a day. Actually, yesterday, because I hadn't walked the day before, I went ahead and did 3 miles. Um, but and actually this morning, because I needed to get back and do a few things, so I actually ended up just walking just my original mile. But I've got some interesting information that I'm going to give in just a minute about the walk from this morning. Okay, so where things were and where things are now. So when I first started, I'm sorry, I'm moving my chat around. So when I first started, um, I could barely walk. I could barely get up and move around. 453 pounds was, I mean, it was hard for me to go walk, what, 40 feet into the kitchen and try to go and make food or go do dishes or something like that, and I'd be out of breath. I'd be sweating. It would just be horrible. My heart rate would just jump. It was stupid. Just just walking into the next room, going to the store. I was I think people thought I was having a heart attack because I looked like I was going to die. Sweating profusely. My blood sugar was in the 250s. So, unfortunately, I didn't really keep track when it was up that high because I was taking that metformin, and I just kind of, I don't know. I think at that point I just kind of figured, okay, well, I'll just take the pill and try to do weight loss, and I just kind of gave up. Um, and so I got to the point where I was actually like taking a nap every day because I would get up and I would just be so, if I was up by like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, all my energy would be spent by 12, 1 o'clock. And I think my body just kind of got used to that. So eventually I just kind of, just I had to go to sleep. And what would end up happening is I would end up sleeping for a couple hours, and then my sleeping at night would be off. So it was just plus I also have the fatty liver, um, and I have an irregular heartbeat because every once in a while it'll just kind of stop for a beat and I'll feel it, and it's just kind of been happening. I don't know, quite a bit. I'm hoping that this will eventually just sort of fix itself, but at the moment, that's just kind of where things were. So where are things now? Like I mentioned, I was actually able to walk 3 miles yesterday. It's the fact that I can walk 3 miles. That's what gets me excited. That's what makes me feel really great, is because I am able to do it. I am able to um, just get out and interview. Yes, I will get to that in just a couple minutes. Thank you for that, because I wanted to bring that up, but I didn't put notes on that. But it's the fact that I can just get up and go and just do a walk for 3 miles. It just felt great. Um, so generally, my regular heartbeat, my heart rate is about 60 or so, in the 60s beats per minute, and I remember, so like the little watch that I have here, it's not like an Apple. It's just designed to track steps, and it does your heart rate. Um, and I remember looking at it while I would be walking, and it would usually get up into about the 120s as I was walking. Um, even when I had just started out, it was still in the 120s, and I mean, I felt okay. It wasn't like kind of thing. So it felt good. But what was interesting was I looked at it this morning as I was walking, and so a couple things happened. So one, the heart rate was actually at about 114. It was the highest recorded on the watch. So I felt good about that. So the other thing too is, see, when I go out and walk, as I head towards the little cemetery that's right next to me, there's a there's an incline, there's a hill that's about uh, maybe 10, maybe 12 feet, just kind of up from where I start at. And so I walked there. I walked around the cemetery this morning, and as I come around, there's also a point where the road dips and then goes back up that same amount. And the whole time today, I actually wasn't out of breath. So that's definitely new for me, and that's something that really made me feel good, was the fact that I was able to do the whole thing. A lot of times when I do that first hill, I'm usually kind of, I'm my breath is going, my heart rate is going, so I am feeling it. But this morning it was like, eh. I mean, as far as the walking, so that actually felt good. Um, so my, and like I mentioned, my blood sugar, my numbers are really getting close to being, at the point where it's going to go hopefully into remission, and I won't have to worry about this anymore. And so I'm hoping that, as I continue to lose the weight and as I continue to go, that those numbers are going to be great, and I don't have to worry about it. 3 miles and not be out of breath. Yeah, um, I totally I feel you. And the thing that I would love, honestly, is if I could, what I would love to try to be able to do is find a place that is pretty much just level, for a mile, I mean, maybe a mile and a half, and try to do 3 miles on that. I would love to see what that looks like. But I'm actually getting to the point where I kind of enjoy the little dips when I'm out walking. So and when I do my whole 3 miles, there's one hill, a little bit of an incline that's a lot bigger, and I actually I'm feeling good about when I go around. Um, and I have a lot more energy. And as far as like the whole thing with, like, taking a nap, I've actually just been lately, I haven't felt the need to want to have to go and rest. Um, so I'm actually really happy about that. I mean, I'm hoping that the job will come soon, and if it does, then obviously I'm not going to be able to take a nap or anything like that. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Um, and I obviously I still sweat, but it's getting to the point now where the only time that it's really like kicking in and making things a lot, just kind of gross, is really when I'm out in the heat. And that's usually just, if I'm out doing deliveries or something like that. It allows, well, it has, what ends up happening is like right now, because I don't have a fan going, but I just start sweating a lot more. But then eventually, like, I get into my car and I'm able to relax and stuff like that. Have you tried a track? Yeah, unfortunately, where I live, um, track, like school track or anything like that around. I live in a very rural area, so I'd have to go really try to find something. But one of these days, I'll go drive around and find something. And yeah, all right. So John is here, but it says device is not connected. Um, so John, if you're not able to, thank you very much. Oh, and sorry, just before I get to John, yes, interview. So Actually, I believe that the interview went great. Um, it was on it was on Thursday, and it was about 45 minutes, and I don't know, I think I did pretty well. The what the guys were asking was wanting to, they would give me sort of they would give me a scenario, and what he kept saying was, there's no right answers. What they wanted to see was what I would do in a situation, how far I would go, how far I would um, try to reach out to try to get answers. And so, I just did my best, being a contractor for Microsoft for a lot of years. You get to the point where, if you need help, if you need to reach out to someone, you find a person, and if that person doesn't help, um, you start asking your team, and then, maybe you start looking towards somebody else or towards another area, and then just kind of keep going until you get an answer. So I think that's what those guys were looking for. So I really am hopeful. I actually have an interview on Monday for a completely different job. It would be a little bit less pay, but at this point, I don't mind. Um, it would still be as a contractor for Microsoft, so I'm uh, I'm very hopeful at this point. Um, yeah, I'm hoping by next week that I will hear hopefully something good on one of those two. So let's see. So John is actually still showing no devices. So I'm not sure, if you're having a problem with your camera, maybe, if you've got a microphone, you could just try the mic. Maybe also just make sure that your microphone and or camera are turned on. You can actually do that. You should be able to see um, at the bottom of your screen when you actually when you log in, and when it comes up, you should be able to. There should be buttons there that say, turn on camera, turn on mic, kind of thing. Great progress all around. Yeah, thank you very much. I really am. I'm feeling really good. Even though, a couple weeks ago, things were kind of up and down, you know, personally and with the weight and stuff like that. But I've gotten to the point now where, um, like what I mentioned last week about rather than just trying to focus on goals, because goals can, you can make the goal and some or may just fall. You may not get it, but I'm looking at the overall value of what I'm doing, and I'm really feeling good about how things are, and where my life is. And yeah, I'm loving it. Again, the fact that I'm even on camera talking to people that I may not ever meet, but I'm hoping that I'm able to inspire them, and just get them to feel good about themselves. So I think we'll wait here for John to try to come back in. Have you tried high school? Yeah. Um, yeah, actually, I think I read that a minute ago. Yeah, yeah. You know what? I think see. Okay, so the problem is where I live. Um, there's just people's grass, their lawns, and then it's the road. Um, there's no sidewalks or anything like that. So a lot of times, what ends up happening is if I'm out walking, I'm walking on the road, and um, and I just I hate, usually when I walk, if I'm on the street, I'm usually walking against the traffic, just so I can see at least what's coming. But and the road around see that the road around me, the roads that are around my neighborhood are all 45 miles an hour. and there's a couple of very blind turns, and um, I'm just not interested in getting hit. Or, freaking out somebody as they're coming along, and then they swerve to try to get around me, and then, they may run into somebody else. So I don't want to try to do that. But yeah, one of these days I will find somewhere to go. Um, there is there is a high school, but my understanding, there's a high school a little ways away, but my understanding is uh, they basically don't want you there if you're not there to go to school. So um, but and usually their parking lot, early in the morning when I'm out there is closed. So, I think they just want students only there. So, but that totally makes sense because I get that, especially, in this day and age. I don't think they want, some strange man just go out there and just start walking. Uh, all right. Oh, let me see. Okay. Here's a picture for John that he just sent me. Sorry, I'm just now. Do I have a local park? Yeah, the cemetery. That's about as close to a park as I'm gonna get. I mean, okay, so I can go a little bit further into the closest town, which is about 20 minutes away, and I am sure that I could find somewhere where I could just park my car, get out, go walk, and go and measure something out that's about 2 to 3 miles, and then just go. And so, and if it gets to the point, I may just do that, John, just in case, just in case you're still trying to connect. Yes, I got your picture, and I will work on. Uh, I will get that actually downloaded right now, so I can have it, just in case you want to bring it up as we're talking. So, save image as. Do 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 do. Do do do. Okay, and that should be done. All right. Oh, let's see. Can actually get rid of that. John, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing today?
I am doing well, sir. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is John Wood. This is actually my very first person that I am interviewing. So, yay, I'm very happy about that. All right. So, I sent you the questions ahead of time. Did you get a chance to look those over?
I did. And thanks for having me on. I'm proud to be your very first interview. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, actually, let's see. Let me do this. Open this up. All right. And let me switch back to here. So, folks, this is, if I can do this right, share screen. So, folks, this was John, what, before July 1st?
That picture was actually taken on July 1st, which was my very first day of the carnivore way of eating.
Okay. All right. So let me get rid of this. Go back to us. Okay. So John, go ahead and tell us about your life before carnivore and kind of where things were for you.
Well, ironically, as a child, I was always teased because I was so skinny. You could literally count my ribs. Older people were always saying, "Boy, put some meat on those bones." And I ate a lot, but I was very active as a child. I rode my bicycle all day, every day. I ran, I wrestled, I played, neighborhood football games and stuff. And so,
Uh-huh.
I just couldn't gain weight as a child. However, when I, got into high school and I didn't play high school sports, unfortunately, I got a job. I think at my 16th birthday, I got a job at Taco Bell, and I was still real skinny at the time. But the manager had a rule: if you messed up an order, you had to eat it. Well, you don't tell a
Oh,
16-year-old boy
oh,
that So, somebody order a burrito with no onions, I'd put extra onions on there. Say, oh man, I made a mistake, and I was just eating free food. And the manager, his son was my best friend, so it was. I think he was trying to feed me for free because I was so skinny. But
Okay.
it didn't take long when the activity level slowed down, and then eating basically Taco Bell junk food, 4 or 5 nights a week. I started putting on weight, and my senior year, well, between my junior year and senior year of high school, I went from about 170 to 230.
Oh,
And it was
okay.
no muscle. It was just, and then once I graduated high school, I didn't go to college immediately. I got a full time job and started working, and found something called the Chinese food buffet, and
Uh-oh.
that really, it was $3.99 for all you could eat, and it was, I'm of modest means. I don't come from money, so if I could go and eat for 30 minutes, all I could shovel in my mouth for $4, that seemed like the thing to do. And so I just started gaining weight, and nutrition was never a thought. It was just how much quantity of food can I get for the least amount of money.
Yep.
And so a lifetime of that. I'm now 56 years old, and I've been overweight, and I've had health issues, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, really, really bad osteoarthritis. Um,
Yeah.
Spent most of my adult life in public safety. I actually was a paramedic for about 20 years, and eventually got to where the arthritis was so bad and the weight was so bad that I had to give it up. Well,
Yeah.
I still have, a mortgage and bills and a family to take care of. So I found me a job as a truck driver. I went to CDL school, got a job as a truck driver, and uh, for about 8 years, I drove a tractor trailer. Which, if anybody that knows about driving tractor trailers, it's an awful lot of sitting and doing nothing.
Yep.
And I want to say idle hands were the devil's workshop. So I would just stop at the truck stop and get donuts and honey buns and apple fritters, and my weight just ballooned up to 325 pounds, and
Ooh, yeah.
every health issue I had got worse. Well,
Mm-hmm.
eventually I wasn't able to pass my DOT physical, because my health
Oh,
was so bad. So then I couldn't drive a tractor trailer anymore. So I found myself kind of in a pickle. I was just in very poor health. I didn't really want to live. I was, I won't say I was suicidal, but I was very, very, very depressed. And
mm-hmm.
fortunately, all my kids are grown and gone, so it's just me and the wife. We've been married 30 years, and
Nice.
she once said, "Well, in 10 years we're going to do so and so," and I busted out laughing, and she said, "What's funny?" And I said, "Well, it's funny that you think I'm still going to be alive in 10 years. That's
Yeah.
crazy."
Yep.
And uh, my wife and I thought about doing a homestead, selling our suburban house and moving to the rural area and buying us a homestead. So I was watching these homestead
Okay.
videos, and Carrie's video came up, Homestead How, and he
Mm-hmm.
started talking about the carnivore diet. And I kind of did a deep dive that night, obviously, into carnivore. And I said, well, I really have nothing to lose. I'll
Yeah.
try it for 30 days. I can't be any worse off than I am now. I'm probably within 2 years of the end of my life. So let me try this carnivore thing. And decided July 1, I was going to do it just for the month of July. And I lost 25 pounds, and my arthritis pain went
Nice.
away. My blood pressure came
Nice.
down. My type 2 diabetes is gone in 30 days. So I've just stuck with it, and now I'm down about 42 pounds. I've kind of been stuck for the last 11 days at 250 pounds from 292. So a little bit of a stall here, but I feel amazing, and my outlook on life is 1,000 times better than it was 70 days ago.
Dude, that is awesome. That is so
Yeah.
great. So, I think you kind of mentioned this, but uh, tell me about your why. What was like the real main factor, the real main reason that you wanted to go ahead and actually change?
Well, I really want to go back to driving an 18 wheeler. That's the most money I ever made in my life. It's a lifestyle. It's not for everybody, but I
Right.
enjoyed it. I owned my own truck. I contracted with other companies to pull their freight, and I was making the you know 3 times as much money as I've ever made in my life. And so now I work for Lowe's, which I do enjoy working at Lowe's. It's a fantastic company, but it's a retail job, and I'm making retail wages, and
Yeah.
I've blown through all my savings that I had put away. But obviously, with the health the way it was, there's no way I could pass the physical to drive a truck again. And so my motivation, my why was I wanted to go back to owning my own trucking company. But in order to do so, I have to change my health, and either that or die. Either one would be a step up from where I was. I know that's terrible to say, but it's just the truth. So
What
my
are the
why is trying to get back to getting my health where I can go back to driving a tractor trailer.
Gotcha. What are the requirements for something like that for driving? What are the physical requirements?
Well, you basically the biggest one is blood pressure. You have to have your blood pressure um, below like 140 over 90. And when I started taking my blood pressure, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but when I started this journey, my blood pressure was 196 over 110.
Oh wow.
So I was way, way, way. I mean, banging on death's door, let me in, let me in. And
Yeah.
now I took it this morning, it was 149 over 80. So still high, I'm not quite there yet. But to go from 190 over 110 to 150 over 80 with no medication, just with diet in 9-10 weeks, pretty amazing. So I'll get there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's just the biggest thing is the blood pressure.
Yeah. Okay. Are you are you able to like go out and walk? Do you feel like is that something you can do, or just maybe just go out and do, or start doing some exercise too?
Yeah, well, I bought me one of these kind of cheap Apple Watch knockoffs, and it's
Yep. Yep.
it counts my steps. Well, I work 10-hour shifts, 11-hour shifts actually at Lowe's. We get
Oh
an hour
wow.
for lunch. And I average between 10,000 and 13,000 steps a day at work. And then
There you go.
on my days off, there's several county parks nearby that have walking trails. So
Oh,
I do
that's
walk a
great.
good bit. Then I started
Okay.
doing push-ups, and I just joined Planet Fitness. So I've been going to the gym a couple of
Nice.
days a week. So I'm really starting to hit my stride, to be honest with you.
That's great. So here's one of the questions that I know is probably like kind of a loaded question. So, since July 1, have you ever felt like you wanted to cheat, like you wanted to turn around for a day or for, half a day or whatever and go eat something like you used to and then just think, well, I'll make it up later. Have you felt that way at all?
The first week, I was so used to having something sweet after every meal. It became a habit for 20 plus years. So it was kind of unusual the very first week to eat a meal, a carnivore meal, and then not grab a little Debbie cake or something. So that was kind of unusual.
Yeah.
About 10 days into it, I was at work and I was on my break, and we have a vending machine, obviously, in the break room.
Hmm.
And there was a meat snack, and the numbers don't quite line up with the food choices. It's a little bit
Right.
off. So I mashed, I don't know, C3 or whatever, thinking I was going to get a meat snack, and a Kit Kat candy bar dropped. And so now here's my dilemma. I'm 10 days into carnivore. I'm feeling better, but man, it's a Kit Kat candy bar. This is divine intervention. God sent me a candy bar. So I sat there and stared at it for 5 or 6 minutes. Well, I only got 5 minutes of my break left. I said, oh, what the heck? I'm going to eat it, and I'll put this behind me. Well, the weird thing was I opened it and I ate it, and it didn't taste good at all. And
Wow.
I thought, well, maybe something's wrong with this. And then I looked at the date. It wasn't out of date. It's just my taste buds had shifted. So
Yeah.
I did eat it,
Yeah.
and I kind of hated myself later. But in a way, it was a blessing because it didn't give me the feeling that it would have 3 weeks before that. I didn't feel anything. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
So that's the one. And then about a week later, we went like 180 days with no accidents at work. So they did a little party for us, and they brought in they had somebody cater. They brought in steak and chicken and some vegetables and these potato wedges. Well, for
Okay.
lunch, I ate 2 steaks and 2 pieces of chicken breast, which was really good. It was from a Texas Roadhouse, I think, one of those places. It was
Oh,
really good.
nice.
And then later on, I went for my break. I usually close at night, so I was there really late, and they had left these potato wedges on the table, and
Oh
everybody was talking
no.
about how good they were. So I said, well, I'll just have one. And when one turned into two, and it was pretty good. And that was just a couple, maybe 3 or 4 days after the Kit Kat candy bar incident, and they were pretty good. And that was it. So there again, it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
I didn't feel satisfied. I felt bad.
Yeah.
And from then to now, there's been zero cheats and zero desire to cheat. My taste buds
Good.
have shifted so much that I don't know. It felt different than when I would have something like that before. It didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is a lot of time is, and I noticed it especially like in the beginning as well. You know, you get so used to, oh, I got to eat something, and then a couple hours later, oh, I got to eat something again, or
Right.
you're out at the store and you just buy something stupid. But I think that's just more out of habit than anything else.
Yeah.
So to get to the point where you're like, wait a minute, I don't need to eat that. And the fact that you the fact that you sat there for 5 minutes and stared at a candy bar, that's great.
Yeah. I was
That
weighing it
is
out.
cool.
I was weighing my options. Eat it and feel bad, not eat it and feel good, but don't get the satisfaction of it. So it was. I was at a crossroads for sure.
Yeah. So you're obviously your weight is better. Your energy sounds like it's better. It sounds like your arthritis is almost gone.
It's completely
Um,
gone.
is it
Completely gone.
okay? It's completely gone.
Z-
So
I went
how
from
are
a
things just
7 out of. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, so how are things just overall now that everything has really shifted? Is your overall? I mean, because you talk about depression, you're talking about feeling suicidal. I mean, it sounds like even that's gone too.
Oh yeah, I have. I was telling my wife the other day. It feels like black magic. It feels like sorcery. I can't believe in such a short period of time how
Yeah,
different my life is. I mean, it feels like it was 100 years ago, but really it was only 10 weeks ago or 12 weeks
right.
ago, whatever it was. And yeah, I'm just I I wake up every morning. And I'm in Concord. I'm actually at the farmers market. I just came here and bought some ribeye and some ground beef and some fat trimmings. If I could
Is
share
that
with
the
you a
one
quick
that's
hack.
over by the airport?
No, this is in Concord. This is it's
Okay.
off Orphanage Road. So they only open one day a week, this Saturday. And there's
Oh, okay.
three local ranchers that come here and set up and sell direct. But
Oh,
if I could share
nice.
one hack with you, this is some beef trimmings, and I found a
Oh,
local farmer here that will sell me these for $2 a pound. So it's just fat. So what you do is you take and cut it into like 1 inch cubes, if you will, just like 1 inch
uh,
by 1 inch cubes. You put it in an air fryer at 400 degrees for about 5 minutes, and it kind of crisps the outside of it. And it's this the most amazing carnivore snack you've ever had in your life. And this
nice.
is grass fed, grass finished beef for $2 a pound, and it is amazing. If you tried it, even if a person who's not carnivore tried it, they would eat it again because it is so good.
What
So
else
that's a
were you
quick
able to
hack
get?
for. Oh, I got some ribeyes and I got some ground beef. Um, just trying to support local ranchers. There's a big push, outside of the carnivore community to get rid of meat. So
Oh yeah.
and they're making it hard on ranchers and farmers. But we have to. There's some ground beef patties, some 80/20 ground beef patties I was able to get for I think $6 for a pound.
Nice. Nice.
So and I got some ribeyes too. The ribeyes were kind of expensive, but we just got a bonus at work, kind of a surprise bonus, just a thank you thing. And so I took the extra money and bought meat and put in my freezer.
That's great. So
Yeah.
Sandra is asking, with the when you talked about making the little snacks out of the fat, is that as good as pork rinds, or is it better, worse?
I think it's better. It tastes like bacon to me. So if you love the flavor of bacon, especially the fat on the bacon, this is like that on steroids. And I don't put any salt on it or anything. I just cut it in little cubes. I've got a little cheap little air fryer that I bought when I was driving a truck that I kept on the truck with me, and so
Okay.
I can put 6 or 8 pieces in there, put it on 400
Nice.
degrees. About halfway through, take it out and just kind of shake it, so it doesn't crisp too much on one side.
Right.
And about 5 minutes of that, and it is amazing. And if you can find a local person that'll sell you this stuff, I've actually heard of some ranchers giving it away because they don't really
Nice.
have a need for it. Once they make their ground beef, whatever's left over, they just typically throw it away. So I
That's
got it for
great.
$2 a pound. I got 2 pounds for $4, and that'll last me probably the better part of a month. I keep it in a pretty cold fridge, so it doesn't quite freeze, but it keeps it really cold. And then I just take it out, cut off several pieces of it, and cook it up, and it's perfect. If you ever want to do a fat fast, if you're familiar with fat fasting, that would be ideal.
Okay. Okay. And then I mean, you can also take it and, yeah, I mean, you can, I guess just sort of like melt it down, cook it down, and cook with it too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, when you put it in the air fryer, once you take it out, the bottom of your little container that holds the drippings will be full of good animal fat. So you can use it to fry
Okay.
eggs or to cook hamburger in or whatever. And you can save it in a little jar, and then you've got you
Yeah.
know beef fat, which is I think, the best fat to use to cook, I think.
Yeah.
And it's dirt cheap. And it's very, very satiating. You eat 6 or 8 of those, you won't eat again for 8 or 10 hours because it's just so satiating.
That's nice. That is
Yeah,
nice. Okay, so you've had, it's been since July 1st that you've started
right.
this. Do you feel that this has been the right decision for you and for your life?
Absolutely. About 5 or 6 years ago, my mother became really, really ill. And, I've spent most of my adult life in healthcare working as a paramedic. So I took it upon myself to try to care for her, during her illness.
Mhm.
She had an end stage kidney failure. She was on dialysis. She was diagnosed with cancer. So I live in North Carolina. I live not too far from you. So I
Right.
started going to Georgia on my days off to take my mom to dialysis and stuff. Let me grab a drink of water real quick.
Sure.
Sorry about that. Dry
It's all
throat.
right. Yeah, this is what happens when you start talking a lot and you're not really ready for it.
So my mother told me before she died she wanted to see me lose the weight because she knew my health had been, really jacked up for a long time.
Yeah.
So I went on the Biggest Loser diet, eat less,
Oh,
move more. And I was
right.
driving a truck at the time, and I lost 100 pounds,
Oh,
but I felt
wow.
miserable. I was cold all the time. I had headaches all the time. My face looked terrible because I lost, the muscle in my face, so my skin was just hanging on my face.
Oh,
And but I did.
wow.
I lost 100 pounds, and I felt miserable. But my mom saw me before she finally passed away. Take control of my health. Well, as soon as my mom died, the depression got worse, and I went on a binge for the better part of a year. I put 110 pounds back on. It took me
Wow.
5 months to lose 100 and about 45 days to gain 110 back. And
Yeah.
I would eat a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts for a snack. That is. And I was so hungry. I was so hungry during that diet that I couldn't have gone much longer. Even if my mom had survived and lived, I could not have gone because I felt horrible.
Yeah.
Every My arthritis was 10 times worse. Um, Even though I lost all that weight, that's when I had to have my left hip replaced because I was using a walker.
Oh,
I couldn't even get around.
wow.
At the time, I was 49, 50 years old. Juxtaposed between that and now, I live in a 2-story house. I run up the stairs, literally run, skipping a step every time. And I can come down
Nice.
the stairs like a 10-year-old. And to go from being on a walker and now being 6 years older and having the vitality, I can run up hills, I can do stairs, I can do anything. And
That's
I still
great.
have 50 pounds to lose.
Right.
But so yeah, to your point, this is absolutely positively. Um, I hate to overuse the word, but it's miraculous. It is miraculous how my life has changed so much. So
And
definitely the right choice for me.
who would have ever thought? I mean, seriously, if you look back on your life, I mean, who would have ever thought that just changing your diet would just make all these miraculous changes? I mean, it's insane to even think about.
And here's the thing that kind of makes me mad, a little bit disappointed, is I've been to 1,000 doctors. Heck, I worked in healthcare for over 20 years. No one's ever talked about nutrition. They just want to hand you a pill, hand you a pill. At one time, I was
Yep.
taking 4 different pills, 3 for blood pressure, 1 for depression. And even the blood pressure pills I was on, 3 of them never really brought my blood pressure down to normal.
Yep.
It lowered it a little bit, but the side effects were horrific.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's weird because I've heard of people who have, who like are diabetics, so they're on, they may be on something to help your blood sugar numbers, but then they may also be on something else, and then it's like the two are battling. One wants to raise your blood sugar numbers, the other wants to lower. So it's like it's not even doing anything. It's this
Right.
constant battle of, no, sorry, well now we're just going to have you take more of the the number for your blood sugar. Oh well, now your blood pressure is going up. Now we better. So it's like nothing ever changes. It's like
Right.
one's trying to lower, and then the other one's just trying to raise it. It's stupid.
But think about the money that's made off that. Think about the
Oh
profit
yeah.
that's made. Now, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but you have to look at the big pharma and big food. The same people that invest billions of dollars in one invest billions of dollars in the other. So they
Yep.
basically have it where they cannot lose. You make people really, really sick, and then you sell them the medicine to try to help them get better. It's. I mean, maybe I'm going overboard there, but you know, what is it? Occam's razor. It's the simplest thing. The
Yeah.
people that are promoting the food are also investing billions of dollars into the medicine to fight the effects of the food. But Dr. Berry said something recently that really, really resonated with me. He said, "There's no magic in the meat. There's no magic in
Right.
the eggs. There's no magic in the bacon. You're just not poisoning yourself. Because with
Yep.
the standard American diet, it's just a low, small dose of poison at every meal. It's the acceptable
Right.
level of poison. Well, if they put poison on a box of Pop Tarts, no one would eat them. But essentially, that's what they are. We're not meant as human beings. We're not meant to ingest any of that stuff.
Right.
What do they put poison on Coca-Cola? How many Cokes would they sell? None.
Right.
You know, but it's poison just the same. It's just not labeled as poison. So when you remove all the toxins and all the poison, your body does what your body is supposed to do.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Because you don't have all this artificial garbage that's being pumped into your system.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just amazing. So so John, do you have anything else that you wanted to bring up? That we haven't covered. Anything or maybe even if you had a chance to tell somebody who's thinking about doing carnivore, what would you want to say to them?
I would just give a couple of warnings. Believe it or not, this is the truth. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but the first 10 or 12 days of it, I had pretty bad diarrhea. Obviously, my body was going through a major, major change in in diet intake.
Right.
The other thing I had, and let me get more drink of water. Sorry.
That's all right.
The other thing I had, which I didn't attribute to the diet, but looking back now, I guess it probably was diet related. There's something called oxalate dumping. There's oxalates in a lot of vegetables. Well, for the better part of a month, I had excruciating lower back pain across my lower back, and I just attributed it to maybe something at work or whatever. But it was pretty bad.
Oh,
and then
wow.
one day, about 10 days ago, it just went away. I woke up one day and it was gone. And I watched a video last night, one of Kelly Hogan's videos, and she had a doctor on there, and he talked about oxalate dumping, and it can manifest itself. A lot of times it's skin. People get really bad rashes, or they get acne that they've never had before, but it can have muscle cramps and muscle pain. But this pain basically came from out of nowhere. It was tough. It was really, if I stood for a long period of time, my back would hurt. If I sat down and then went to stand up, it was, 7 out of 10 pain. But then it just went away, and I've not done anything different. So I'm thinking maybe it was oxalate dumping. Now, most people probably aren't as metabolically unhealthy as I was. Maybe some are, and maybe that had something to do with it. But I didn't have any skin rashes or anything like that. But I had back pain across my lower back that was pretty tough. But it's gone now. It's just completely gone. And now I can, get down, stand up, sit, whatever, and there's no pain. So that's something
great.
that it would not have changed if I knew going in I was going to have that. I would just power through it, which is what I did. I just never attributed it to the diet. I figured it was something that I did at work, but I think maybe now it was oxalate dumping.
Okay. So somebody asked, is your wife doing carnivore with you?
No, she thinks I'm a nut job.
She really?
She thinks, oh my gosh. Ironically, we were talking about doing a homestead, so we grew a big garden on our patio this year. We grew tomatoes and banana peppers and bell peppers and cherry tomatoes and all stuff. So they're all sitting on the counter going bad because I won't eat any of them. So we spent a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort, building this garden that she can only eat so much of it. So she's a little disappointed in that. But she's really sick of me watching carnivore stuff on YouTube, which is why I'm at the farmer's market on my phone and not at home where she's at. But, I tend to be a person, and a lot of us are, I think, that just when you find something, you just really want to immerse yourself in it. So I've watched Dr. Berry, Kelly Hogan, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Baker, Carrie. I've watched everybody. I've watched you, all your stuff. And it's just a bit overwhelming for her, but she can't deny the fact that I can run up and down the stairs, and my yard is immaculate. I've got to cut it now. We've had all this rain, but I've got to. So I'm just doing them. I I can't sit still, and she can't help but notice that I'm not just vegging unless I'm watching,
Right.
carnivore stuff on the couch. But she's not on board at all. Hopefully she will be, but happy wife, happy life. I'm not going to push her because it's a source of angst in our right now. But hope springs eternal. Maybe she'll look at it.
Yeah, and somebody put here, wifey will come around when she sees your health improving. So absolutely, you know.
Yeah.
Someone also asked if are you eating pork and chicken and other meats, or are you just doing beef at the moment?
Right now, I'm just doing beef, but ironically, I went to the grocery store towards the end of June, a Food Line, and the manager had marked down a bunch of meat. Well, they had these Boston butts, and they were marked down to like 70% off. And I've got 3 freezers at my house, so I've got plenty of freezer space. So I bought several Boston butts. I went home, and this one was so big we had to cut it in half, and we cooked it in 2 different crock pots, and it made just bags and bags and bags of pork. My wife made a dry rub to put on there. I'm not sure
Oh,
what she
nice.
used, but I had, I don't know, 6 pounds of pork. So the first 2 weeks I just ate pork. But that goes back to what I was saying earlier. I don't think there's magic in the meat. I think there's magic in not taking in all the poisons from the
Yep.
processed food.
Yep.
But now I'm doing mostly beef. Yeah, probably about 3 weeks now I've done nothing but beef. I keep going to the store. I've kind of gotten to know the manager at the meat manager at the local Food Line.
Okay.
So when they're getting ready to mark stuff down because it needs to be either eaten or frozen, he kind of looks out for me. So I'm able to get some really good deals on beef, and I think it's probably the best meat for us. But I'm
Yeah.
not averse to eating pork or chicken. I eat a lot of bacon and eggs. I basically do the lion diet Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday I do B, 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 and E.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
I do love bacon. So what I'll do is I'll fry up 6 or 8 pieces of bacon, and then I
Hmm.
take them up, put them on a plate. Then I scramble up like 6 eggs, and I pour the scrambled eggs into the bacon grease. So I kind of scramble fry, and it
Yeah.
absorbs a lot of the bacon grease. And so I don't put any salt, pepper, or anything on my eggs because the bacon grease is the flavor. And
Right.
so I have that. I have that on Saturday and Sunday. But Monday through Friday, I'm pretty much doing the lion diet, which
Okay.
mostly consists of ground beef. I look for it on sale. I found the big 5 pound tubes of ground beef like at
Yeah.
Walmart
Yeah.
for about $1.99 a pound, and it's 73.27, so it's got perfect fat. And I'll just make up several of those patties, and that's what I carry to work with me and have those for work. Throw some butter on there, melt butter on there.
Does anybody at work say anything? Have they noticed the differences being made in your life?
Oh yeah, I've actually had a conversation with a young guy last night. His mom is really, really struggling with arthritis, and she's basically become chair bound. And so he was asking me about this, and he's a young guy, and so he was calling his mom and texting his mom from the break room last night and sending her like Dr. Barry's videos and stuff and trying to help her out. And there's been a couple other people. Obviously, when I've lost this much weight in this short period of time, people are asking what's going on. Are you
Right.
sick? Do you
Yeah.
have cancer? No, no. I'm healthy. I'm trying to get healthy. So some people think, oh, I've heard of that before, but I'm not interested. Or I can't believe, what does your doctor say about this? That's kind of the reaction you get. They think I'm going to have a heart attack and die tomorrow
Right.
because I'm eating animal fat and butter.
Yeah. And I hate hearing the stories about like doctors kicking out their patients because they're changing the way that they eat. They're changing their lifestyle. They're not following the line of you must eat the standard American diet. I just find that insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said, I was watching this Joe Rogan video from, I think, a couple years ago. He had this lady on there. She was a researcher, and she was talking about there's not been any studies, any long-term studies on this carnivore diet and how dangerous it was. And I started to think how many studies have been done on the McDonald's, Burger King, and Hardee's diet. How many years
Right.
did they study that before they put a
Yeah.
Pizza Hut and the Chipotle and all this stuff on every corner? How many studies did they do on that? And they're
Yeah.
okay with me eating that, but it's dangerous for me to eat, you know, animal products that humans ate a million years ago. How
Yeah.
many studies were done on the McDonald's diet? That's what I want to know.
Right. Well, and you look at like cows that when they go and eat, they go and eat the grass, but and with all the multiple stomachs and different things, all the processes that it takes
Mm.
for all of that food to go through, and all the impurities to come out. I mean, how much you can't really ask for more if you're eating an animal, because it does about the best thing it can do to keep itself, big, but then at the same time, there's little to no impurities in there.
Right, exactly. And I learned
Yet
something
we're
yesterday.
the ones that eat it.
Exactly, exactly. Um, I learned something yesterday. This was from a person coming from a kind of a plant-based thing, and he said he had to admit that beef liver was probably the most nutrient-dense substance on planet Earth. Now,
Yeah.
I haven't started incorporating organ meat yet. Maybe I will eventually. I don't enjoy the taste of liver, but so far I haven't really felt a huge need for it. I do take a multivitamin every day, a Centrum
Okay.
Silver Men's, and it's got magnesium in there. That's what I'm looking for. Now I do drink Element. I drink a half element every day, unless I work out or go outside and spend all day. I may have a one element, but so there's a little bit of supplement there, but that's it. Yeah, that's all I
Okay.
do. One last thing, if I could, if indulge me for just a moment, two other benefits that are pretty amazing to me. I've always struggled with my teeth. I don't have really good teeth, and I've always had a lot of dental pain and tooth pain. Well,
Okay.
how do you eat a ribeye or a New York strip if you got bad teeth? Well, since I've started this, my teeth no longer hurt, and I have a tooth that's broke off that's beginning to grow back.
What?
And yeah, and my teeth, I have really yellow teeth. My teeth are yellow. You probably can't tell in this video, but maybe you can. But my teeth are actually getting whiter. Not a
Nice.
lot, but it's noticeable, even so that my wife noticed it.
I mean,
So
the
that's
fact
that's
that
kind
you
of
can
crazy.
see it, yeah. I mean, that's just one of those
Yeah,
things where you talk about. Where I always talk about, just document everything. So I mean, that's
right.
definitely something. Even if you didn't see it at the beginning, but you just knew, okay, this is just how it is. But you look at it now, and it's like, what? I don't understand. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great to hear.
The other thing that's surprising, if you people that are carnivore, have been carnivore for a while, or seen other carnivores, I was in the sun yesterday. I live close to where you live, so it was hot and sunny. There was not a cloud to be found yesterday in the sky. I was outside in the sun for 10 hours. I didn't even get a tan. I'm not sunburned at all, and my
Right.
arms, I don't even have a tan. And under normal circumstances, I would be red like a lobster. I would be
Yep.
miserable, and
Yep.
my skin would be peeling in a couple of days. Um, I mean, there's no difference in the way my skin looks now than, and I was outside in the sun for 10 hours yesterday with no
That
sunscreen at all.
I've heard
That's
that so many times from a lot of people. The fact that when they're on this diet, they can go out, they can be in the sun, they can do work. They
Mhm.
may have their shirt off, they may be in shorts. Nothing,
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. That's I don't get the science of that, but I'm not going to argue with it. That's pretty cool because coming from somebody that's been sunburned pretty much every year for 50 plus years, to go out there and spend all that time in the sun with no sunscreen and nothing, it's it's pretty crazy.
That is so insane. So Norway Goes Carnivore says, I'm on day 61 and I feel so good. I cannot imagine going back to the sad diet. No, absolutely. Because, when you've done this for long enough, you look back at, at what you ate before, you hear the stories of what people ate before. And it just seems unfathomable, the idea that I used to eat that. You want me to go eat that? Not a chance. There's no way.
Yeah. I don't,
So
I don't know what the motive at this point. I don't know what the motivation would be to ever change. Why? What would be the motivation to go back to feeling miserable? What would be the
exactly.
motivation?
Right. Yeah,
The one
exactly.
one little one
No, go
last
ahead.
thing,
Huh?
I know you suffered with this. I watched your video, I think about a week ago, where you had a week where you didn't really lose any weight. Well, I haven't lost any weight in I think 11 days now. I'm stuck at 250.8. I think my scale might be broken,
Oh,
but I I've moved to the next loop of the next hole in my belt, even though my weight has changed not at all. And I don't know that I've put on muscle mass or whatever, but it's pretty cool. Even though I haven't lost weight, my clothes look different. They
yeah.
feel different than they did, even though I haven't lost a single pound. And my blood pressure's come down a little bit more too. My big why is
Yeah.
getting that blood pressure down so I can go back to driving a truck.
Yeah. And, somebody mentioned that, I think in the comment from, I think from the video last week or the week before, the idea that, you may not lose the weight, but check, the numbers, keep measuring and check
Right.
all those, because you may be losing, like, for me, like around here, right in the midsection, or I may be losing around the stomach, maybe losing around the legs, but even though the weight may not really be changing, there's a lot of things that could be happening, and it may not be seen right away, but it's definitely working. And like
Right.
you just said with your clothes, the fact that you had to adjust the belt, you had to go to the next hole. It's, I mean, like, I about a month ago, I had a belt. I got to the point where I had to drill in. I drilled in 2 holes, and then about 2 weeks later, I had to drill in 2 more holes. So
That's awesome.
it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah. I know sometimes it's tough to see it on ourselves, but for you specifically, I've been watching your videos since your first one, and I can see, even today, I can see a difference in how your face looks, your face, your chin, and
Yeah,
your neck. So even if
yeah,
the scale doesn't reflect it, other people that see you, I mean, maybe not somebody that sees you every single day, but I can
right,
look at you now, and I think you look different now than you did last week,
yeah.
and that's amazing. That's amazing. That's just less
And,
inflammation leaving your body.
and for me especially, just looking back at my original video that I put. And what's funny is, that was my original video was 5 weeks later.
Right.
So, it was the picture that I had posted in the community section, that was about as close to a picture, a recent picture that I had was that one
Right.
from Christmas. And I look at that, and I mean, I even look at myself now, and it's just, it's when I can see it is
Right.
when I know it's working.
Yeah.
And that was the hard thing for me a lot of times was, other people could see it, other people, hey, you losing weight, hey, you're looking good, but then, like, when I look in a mirror, it's like, okay,
Exactly.
but yeah, I mean, it's and I think that's the thing with a lot of people, who are not overweight like I am, but still have problems and issues that they're dealing with, and they're changing. But it's one of those things that, yeah, it may not be seen on the outside, but it's the things that they feel on the inside, and that's the thing that is making them want to keep going and want to keep doing this. So,
Yeah. For me, I think somebody said this recently, so I'm borrowing somebody else's line, but the weight loss at this point for me, the weight loss is the least sexy thing I can talk about because the healing of the
yep,
arthritis, the no longer having suicidal thoughts.
yep,
Um, I mean, all this stuff is even if I didn't lose a pound, I would still do it for the other benefits. The
yep,
mouth pain gone, all the
yep,
arthritis gone. I stand on a concrete floor for 10 hours a day, and when I first went to work there, kind of like when you had that one job, halfway through it, I thought, "There's no way I can do this. My feet are
yep,
killing me."
yep,
And now I work a 10-hour shift on my feet, and nothing. I mean, I don't. My feet don't feel any different at the end of 10 hours than they did at the beginning. I mean,
right.
it's the closest thing to black magic or sorcery that we're ever going to experience in our lifetime. I think it's that good.
Yeah, and again, folks, that's why, I keep talking about, if you're starting this, journal everything,
Yeah,
and it just, write about it every day if you have to, at least in the beginning. Again, you may not see anything different. You may have, if you have like arthritis pain, write about exactly how you feel and how bad it is. And even if after a week or 2 weeks, maybe you're feeling it feels a little better, still there, but I'm feeling a little better. And then as time goes on, that percentage of, well, how much better is it feeling, is going to increase. It really will, because it's not just one person that's saying it, or, oh yeah, I just happened to come across, one video out of 20 where somebody talked about. No, it's constant. There are so many people that are out there, and there are stories of people that aren't on video, that aren't on YouTube, that are, that have, problems with inflammation or arthritis or fatty liver or all this other stuff, and they don't get a chance to have a voice to be able to get those thoughts out, except in comments. And you know what the problem is a lot of times and I don't mean to like pick on Bill or Carrie, but a lot of times in their videos they get a ton of comments, right? And a lot of times there's no way you're going to be able to go through all of those,
Right.
because you get some of them where that may be the only voice that they have is when they go and respond to a comment, and one or two people may see it, and then that's about it. So so that's why I think, like, what Carrie wants to do is, he's done that 12-hour video live stream or 10-hour live stream before. That's why he's doing the 24-hour live stream starting next Saturday. And I think that's why I wanted to start doing this, was I wanted to help people get their story out, especially if they're not able to
Right.
get onto YouTube, or like I said, all the only outlet they have is comments. So
Right.
even if it's just 10-15 minutes of being able to talk, and because when I reach out to people, I've reached out to a few other people. I got a couple that are in the UK, and so we're working on trying to get times so that they can we can get on the camera at the same time, and it would just be pre-recorded. But even what I've done is I've sent them the questions, the same kind of questions that I sent to John earlier. And even if all they're able to do is do an audio recording or video recording and then send that to me, that's still going to be a lot better than camera or a comment and just this, you know this is what's going on. These are the things that I had before. This is the thing that this is how better I'm feeling, and maybe a couple people see it. Or a lot of times what may happen is, you may read it, but like if you don't give them a thumbs up, eh, they may feel that nobody's watching or looking at it.
Yeah.
So
Well, it kind of, like for me, I bet somebody could watch this and say, "Well, John, Jeremy, it's anecdotal," and they're right. But when you have hundreds of thousands of anecdotes all saying the same thing,
yeah,
sure, maybe it's not a peer-reviewed, double-blind study. But you have to think, when does the anecdote? How many anecdotes do you have to have before you see a trend? A hundred
right,
thousand, a million?
yep,
And I'm with you, almost without exception. People who are morbidly obese, or people who are underweight, people that have
hmm,
autoimmune issues, they all have extremely similar relief of symptoms.
yep,
Whether it be arthritis or skin issues or IBS or other digestive problems. So it becomes a trend and not just an anecdote. 2 people is an
right,
anecdote. 2 million people is a trend or
yeah.
science, I think.
Yeah, and folks, I would challenge you to, next Saturday, if you get a chance, and you don't have to worry about watching the entire 24 hours of like Carrie's live stream. But honestly, I mean, I've seen the lineup. He's got a bunch of people that, doctors that are lined up, but it's all the other people that are going to jump in every once in a while, and they're going to give their stories. I think he wants to try to keep it to a couple minutes, because I think he wants to get as many people as he can. But folks, watch and listen to what these people say, because I will guarantee you that you're probably going to hear from these people very similar issues and problems that you're having, that they have or have had, and chances are it's been fixed, it's gone into remission, because all they did was just change the way that they eat. So, you know, and again, write it all down, journal it. Folks, if you want to jump in, please contact me. It's Londwar01, so LONDWAR01 at gmail.com. And if you don't, if you don't want to get on camera, if you don't mind at least recording your voice, there are a bunch of, I think on most iPhones there is a, let's see, what is it? There's something on here that'll at least allow you to do like voice memos. There are other apps that you can download, that all it's going to do is, basically you hit record and it starts recording, and then you can just go through the questions, give your story. I do not care how long it is. You could have it for 5 minutes, you could go for 2 hours. I will play the whole thing in its entirety, because I want people to hear your story. I want people to hear what's going on. Um, the only thing that I may clean up is, if there are, maybe breaks where there's, 20, 30 seconds, maybe you're reading through a question or something like that. I'll go and, remove some of that stuff. But otherwise, I'll just play it all the way through. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to go. There's tons of comments going through here. Um, So Deb, I was ketovore for months, but lost my husband 4 weeks ago. Deb, I am so sorry to hear that. My condolences to you. Um, I have to say, without it, my brain would have been mush. Let's see, 4 weeks ago, and I went true carny. Okay, and I would have said my brain would have been mush, sad and heartbroken. Yes, but the brain and the mind is strong. Deb, it really is. And it's one of the things that can recover. It may take time, emotionally. It may take time. I mean, I know, when I lost my dad, he was actually here at my house when he passed away a few years ago. And I mean, that was not fun. But I yeah, I may not have lost a wife, but it definitely, um I know what it's like to lose a loved one. And but please, again, you may only have an outlet as far as doing comments in here and on live streams and stuff like that. But please feel free to let us know how you're doing. And we want to just make sure that you're doing okay. So, John, anything else that you wanted to bring up? I think we're gonna probably go ahead and wrap it up here pretty soon.
Sure. The only last thing I'll say that probably worth mentioning is I worked on an ambulance for over 20 years, and in big cities and in small towns. So I've seen the worst of humanity. I've seen really, really things that you can never unsee. And for a while after I got out of EMS, I had nightmares on a pretty regular basis, and it was nightmares from calls that I had done 20 years ago. Nothing recent. It was like stuff that was suppressed. Well, eventually,
Mm.
they kind of, when I got away from that industry for a while, those went away. Well, now when I go to sleep, I have the most amazing, fun dreams. That's crazy. It's like I look forward to going to sleep because it's like going to see a movie. Some of my dreams are funny. Some of them are dreams, memories from my wife and my kids doing fun things, and that's something I never expected is for to have these amazing, fun, funny, romantic dreams that only started once I was about 3 weeks into this, and now every night I sleep really, really, really good, and I have the most pleasurable dreams that help me get through the day as far as just having a great positive outlook. Because I don't know, that's one of those other weird things that I haven't heard a lot of other people mention, but I just have some amazing dreams every single night, and it's fun. It's unusual. Maybe nobody else has experienced that, but for me, it's been somebody who for a while didn't want to go to sleep because I was afraid of the nightmares from the things that I've seen. To be able to go to sleep, and it's like I just bought a ticket to a great movie. So it's
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, we got to wrap it up here because I got to get home, get this meat in the freezer. I'm sitting in the
Yeah.
parking lot of the farmer's market. Jeremy, this has been fun. Thank you so much. I'm proud that I was your first guest. And if you don't mind, I'll email you my contact information. Maybe we can keep in touch. I don't have a YouTube channel yet, but maybe we can keep in touch. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And with everything that you just talked about, I would say, at least if nothing else, maybe start thinking about posting every once in a while.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that that like to do every day. Me, I just doing them, once a week, and then sometimes I'll do a second one. But even if you just do and there's a lot of people that are out there that will do, they'll do like from day one to like day 60 or something like that.
Right.
But the thing that I just keep trying to tell everybody is, if you're going to do that, just make sure that you're documenting everything, because you want to be able to tell those stories, and that those really small important details, as far as when things were hurting, when there was a change, and okay, things are getting better now, and this has been the transition. So, and this is that's for anybody and everybody. All
All
right,
right, Jay.
folks. John, thank you very much. Thank you for coming
Yeah,
on.
my pleasure.
And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, this is great. This was fun. I really hope that a lot more people want to do this. So, folks, thank you very much for joining. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Yeah, so Kirby Life, yeah, definitely. If you've been documenting all your stuff, and if you don't have the ability to be able to post it or be able to talk about it with people, definitely feel free to reach out to me. In the about section on my channel, there's an email address, so you can certainly do that. Yeah, please hit the like button. I'm really trying to work on getting my watch hours up. So I'm getting there. I'm slowly getting there. But yeah, Kirby, if you wanna reach out and come on or pre-record your stuff, then I will definitely play it. But anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you for joining. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.